Carlton Hotel Diamond Heist. In the summer of 1994, the glittering French Riviera played host to one of the most cinematic jewel robberies ever attempted. At the luxurious Carlton Hotel in Cannes, a man walked casually into the lobby, dressed not as a thief, but as a well-heeled guest. In his hands, he carried 2 pistols, and in the next few minutes, he would execute a daylight robbery that stunned both the police and the international jewelry trade. The Carlton Hotel was hosting a diamond exhibition, displaying millions of dollars worth of gems. The thief entered the showroom calmly, drew his weapons, and ordered everyone inside to lie on the floor. Without firing a single shot, he swept diamonds and jewels from their displays into a briefcase. In less than 5 minutes, he walked out with loot valued at more than $60 million. What made the heist extraordinary was not just the scale, but the audacity. The robbery took place in broad daylight, in one of the most glamorous and heavily trafficked locations in Europe. Witnesses later recalled the thief moving with total composure, as if he had rehearsed every step. Despite an immediate investigation, the thief vanished into the maze of Cannes. Many speculated that the infamous Pink Panthers, a network of jewel thieves from the Balkans, were behind it, known for their Hollywood-style robberies and cool demeanor. But the Carlton job remained unsolved, with neither the jewels nor the robber ever definitively identified. The Carlton Hotel Diamond Heist entered legend as one of the boldest jewel thefts of the 20th century. It reminded the world that in the heart of glamour and wealth, a lone thief with nerve could still walk away with a fortune in diamonds and leave behind nothing but questions. The Knightsbridge Security Deposit Robbery. In July of 1987, London became the site of one of the boldest bank heists ever attempted. The target was the Knightsbridge Safe Deposit Center, an exclusive facility catering to wealthy clients who stored cash, jewels, and documents in its secure vaults. The mastermind behind the crime was Valerio Vicci, an Italian playboy with a taste for luxury and a long record of daring robberies across Europe. The plan was deceptively simple. Vicci and an accomplice entered the facility posing as prospective customers interested in renting a deposit box. Once inside, they pulled guns on the manager and staff, forcing them to close the bank to outsiders. With the employees subdued, Vicci and his crew gained control of the entire building. Over the next few hours, the robbers ransacked safe deposit boxes, prying them open and emptying their contents into bags. By the time they were done, they had taken valuables worth an estimated £60 million. At the time, the largest cash and jewelry haul in world history. The audacity lay not in elaborate tunnels or complex alarms, but in the brazen takeover of the vault in broad daylight. For a brief moment, the Knightsbridge job looked like a flawless success, but Vicci's extravagant lifestyle quickly drew attention. He imported luxury cars, partied in nightclubs, and left a trail of evidence. Within weeks, police closed in, arresting him and several accomplices. Vicci was sentenced to 22 years in prison, though he later gained notoriety again when he was killed in a shootout during a temporary prison release. The Knightsbridge security deposit robbery remains legendary for its sheer daring. It showed that sometimes the simplest strategy, walking into a vault and taking control, could yield unimaginable riches, at least until arrogance and recklessness brought it crashing down. The British Bank of the Middle East Heist. In January of 1976, during the height of Lebanon's civil war, Beirut witnessed one of the most audacious bank robberies in history. The target was the British Bank of the Middle East, a financial fortress that seemed untouchable even amid the chaos of conflict. But in a city divided by militias and foreign armies, a crew of thieves saw opportunity where others saw ruin. The robbers, believed to have ties to the Palestine Liberation Organization, used the ongoing war to their advantage. Over the course of several days, they blew through the bank's walls with explosives, reportedly gaining access by tunneling from a neighboring building. Once inside, they had free rein. The vaults were filled with gold bars, cash, jewelry, and documents. By the time they were done, the gang had looted an estimated 20 to 50 million pounds worth of valuables, the equivalent of hundreds of millions today. Unlike many high-profile heists, the British bank robbery had no quick police response. Beirut in 1976 was a city of snipers, barricades, and divided factions. Law enforcement had little power to investigate, and the thieves vanished into the fractured landscape of the Civil War. For decades, speculation swirled about where the gold ended up. Some claimed it was funneled into international networks to fund armed groups, while others suggested private profiteers made fortunes reselling the loot. The sheer scale of the theft, combined with its political backdrop, made it infamous. Unlike other heists that relied on stealth or trickery, this one was possible only because an entire city had collapsed into violence. It showed how, in times of war, the line between organized crime and military strategy could blur until theft became both a criminal act and a weapon of conflict. The British Bank of the Middle East heist remains one of the largest unsolved robberies in history, its treasure scattered in shadows, its masterminds never fully revealed. The Stockholm helicopter heist. In the early hours of September 23, 2009, Stockholm, Sweden, awoke to the kind of scene usually reserved for movies. A helicopter hovered over the city before descending onto the roof of a cash depot belonging to G4S, one of Europe's largest security companies. Within minutes, a group of masked thieves executed one of the most cinematic robberies in modern history. The plan was meticulously crafted. The robbers had stolen a Bell 206 Jet Ranger helicopter, which they flew low over the city to avoid radar detection. After landing on the depot roof, they smashed through reinforced glass skylights and rappelled inside. Armed with sledgehammers and explosives, they broke into secure rooms where cash was stored, stuffing bags with millions of Swedish kroner. Meanwhile, police response was paralyzed. The thieves had anticipated law enforcement's every move. Roads leading to the depot were blocked with spike strips, and fake bombs were planted near police helicopters to prevent pursuit. Officers on the ground could only watch as the heist unfolded from above, powerless to intervene. Within 20 minutes, the gang was back in the helicopter, lifting off into the night sky with their fortune. The entire city was left stunned, not only by the audacity of the crime, but by its almost military precision. The aftermath, however, was less perfect. Over time, Swedish police arrested several suspects connected to the robbery. One was caught in the Dominican Republic, others in Sweden itself. Still, much of the stolen money was never recovered, and questions linger about how many of the gang escaped justice. The Stockholm helicopter heist captured global attention because it looked like something pulled straight from an action film. It proved that even in a country known for calm and order, bold criminals could rewrite the rules of robbery from the skies above. The Central Bank of Iraq looting. In March of 2003, as American-led forces prepared to invade Iraq, one of the most extraordinary bank robberies in history unfolded. The target was not a jewelry store or an armored truck, but the Central Bank of Iraq in Baghdad. And the mastermind, according to later reports, was none other than Saddam Hussein himself. On the eve of the invasion, Hussein allegedly ordered his son, Qusay, to withdraw nearly $1 billion in cash from the bank. Written instructions were delivered to bank officials, and with the dictator's regime still in control, they complied. Trucks were loaded with pallets stacked with American $100 bills, each shrink-wrapped and bundled. Within hours, an estimated $920 million in cash had been removed, making it the largest bank heist in human history. When coalition forces entered Baghdad weeks later, they discovered evidence of the looting. Vaults stood empty, and rumors swirled of trucks laden with money hidden across the country. Over the following months, American troops recovered hundreds of millions of dollars hidden in walls, bunkers, and barns. Still, large portions of the fortune disappeared into the chaos of war. Unlike most heists, the central bank looting had no disguises, tunnels, or elaborate tricks. It was a crime made possible by dictatorship and war, a leader treating a nation's treasury as personal wealth. For Iraq, the loss was staggering, stripping the state of funds desperately needed during Reconstruction. To this day, much of the missing money has never been traced. Some was likely smuggled abroad, some spent to fund loyalists, and some stolen again in the disorder that followed. The Central Bank of Iraq looting remains unmatched in scale, a heist where politics and crime became indistinguishable, and where an entire nation paid the price. Thank you for watching. If you learned anything, throw me a like and comment below on what you would like to see in the future. History never runs out of surprises, and neither do we. So subscribe and join me for the next dive into the archives.